So today I want to talk to you about procrastination and specifically what are some things you can do to kind of defeat procrastination. I think it's normal behavior. We all procrastinate. We kind of get overwhelmed or we push things off, and sometimes it's appropriate that we don't. It's just not the right time to do whatever task it is. But often we just keep pushing it off for whatever reason, and ultimately it's the reason is we're really just procrastinating. We have something we need to be doing, but we don't do it. And so I kind of want to talk to you about how can we defeat this. And the first thing you can do is really try to analyze why you're procrastinating. Is it that you're poorly organized? Is it you're overwhelmed? Is there some type of fear holding you back? And really look at the task at hand and really try to evaluate, why is it I keep procrastinating and doing this? Now, one thing that can help is to write out a to-do list. Often we feel overwhelmed because we have all these things we need to do, but we store them in our mind. So we're constantly thinking about them, and our mind kind of gets confused and frustrated. So the first thing you can do is really just write out your to-do list, get it out of your mind and onto a piece of paper so that you really know what are the things that I have to get done. Now, the challenge is a lot of people have to-do lists, but they don't prioritize their to-do list and they don't add a time component to that. And so what you need to do is you need to take that to-do list and look at it and go, okay, here's my list of things that I need to get done, but what's the things I need to get done now, and how much time is that going to take? Because often we have this big list and we say, hey, we're going to do this, but we don't actually set aside the time. So, for example, maybe you have to get something done. Go ahead and schedule that time in your calendar of when you're going to do it and how much time you have. Now, just a little warning here is often we underestimate the amount of time it's going to take to accomplish something. So you need to have some flexibility here that as you plan and do this, working with your to-do list, that you're able to make adjustments, and as you practice, you're going to get better at this and assessing what the time requirements are going to need or building in extra time when you set up uh, a time to do this. So first thing you got to do is write down the things you need to get done and then prioritize them and add that time component of that. The next thing that helps is often when we have something we need to get done and we procrastinate, it's because it's a big project. And so we can take that project and break it down into these bite-sized tasks. You're more likely to be moving forward in doing that. So instead of uh, uh, labeling it as your to-do list to do X, then you're going to want to just do pieces of that that's actually pushing you forward to that. Again, that falls back on your planning then because you're taking this huge task and making it into kind of bite-sized tasks. Again, though, it's going to need that time component where you're adding that to your calendar or however you manage your time so that you're actually setting up the time to accomplish that. But the big thing is that if you have a big task to get accomplished and you keep basically procrastinating to do it, then break that task into smaller pieces that are moving you forward in getting the overall task done. The next thing is you got to address distractions. We live in a world clear full of distractions, whether it's Facebook or other social media platforms. The reality of it is you've got to make sure you've created a space that is distraction free. Uh, when it's time to do something, you're going to want to make sure your notifications on your phone and your computer are off. You don't want an email notification popping up because it's a big distractor and it kind of forces your attention somewhere else. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to create this distraction-free environment so that as you're working on these tasks, you're not being pulled in other directions. Another thing you can do is often we procrastinate on those things that are things that we probably don't enjoy that much, but we have to get them done. And it's important there is to identify those times you're going to work on them when you're kind of at your very best. So if you seem to have a lot of energy in the morning and be really productive in the morning, then you're going to want to take time to schedule those tasks during that time when you can really perform at your highest performance and really get that task done. So when you look at your to-do list and those things that you know you need to do but you just don't want to do, it's really important that you schedule that time in on your calendar so that it's in a time that you're going to be the most on your game. Another thing you can do is basically tie some rewards to accomplishments. And what I mean by that is as you kind of uh, complete a task, give yourself some type of reward. It might be a reward of actually spending some time on social media, or time with your spouse, or going to a movie, or enjoying a nice cup of coffee. Something that is tied to the accomplishment of that uh, task. So um, tying rewards that can be very productive in moving you forward. Another thing that can really help defeat procrastination is an accountability partner. So, if you have someone in your life that can help hold you accountable, that you have to check in with on, are you progressing on these things? It's going to really help you, because we often tend to want to help others. And if we kind of hold ourselves accountable to others, that's going to help kind of drive us in working on those tasks that we need to do. So, I would recommend that you find an accountability partner. The next thing is sometimes you just got to get started, and often we're just overwhelmed, and and we just don't ever get started because we just feel completely lost. And the important thing is just start. So you hear authors talk about this all the time when they're writing a book, that if they sit back and look at the whole kind of the totality of a book, they can become very overwhelmed and just never even get started. But if you're saying, I'm going to write a book, but today I'm going to write, you know, 30 words, and no matter what, and there may be 30 bad words, 30 words I'm not going to use, but I'm going to get started. And if you can just get those juices flowing and get started, then you're really going to start yourself on that path, and find that the things holding you back that are causing you to procrastinate really kind of dissolve, and those big mountains of obstacles kind of go away by simply the act of getting started. So here's some action steps for you. Is first, really evaluate why you're procrastinating. Look at the things that you haven't been doing, and really evaluate why are you not doing them. Now, some of those things may be things that you don't need to do. So as you kind of look at your to-do list, and you're getting set up to start working on those tasks, finding that time, if there's things you can do that delegate, that someone else can do, then delegate them. Okay. Also, if there's things that you're procrastinating because they just really aren't important, then remove them off your list. But the important thing is that you understand exactly what tasks need to get accomplished, and what tasks do you have to do yourself versus delegating to someone else. And then finally, again, tie it back to some type of reward. Find things that you want to do to reward yourself. And you can really, write these things down, and put them on a slip of paper, put them in a jar. And as you have kind of a task completed, go ahead and reach into that jar and pull out one of your rewards. And it's kind of a surprise then too. It's a reward you want because you came up with it. But then it's a surprise reward after you complete the task, because you have a bunch of rewards in this jar, so you don't really know what reward you're going to get. So these are just some really simple things you can do to really help you if you're struggling with procrastination. And the reality of it is I think we all struggle with procrastination. And so if you really want to move the needle and get the things done that need to get done, apply some of these principles, and really, I think they're going to help you get moving, because if it's something that's important to you, then it needs to get done. And the only way to do that is to do the work. So hopefully some of these things you'll find helpful. And again, if there's anything you need from us, just let us know. Thank you.